The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised. It's already happening in your kitchen, in your office, in your Zoom call, and even in your YouTube stream. Because real change, it doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers through everyday acts of kindness that ripple outwards. And today on Kindness Rising, we're asking the big question: can one small act spark large scale social change? Spoiler alert, it already has.
This is Kindness Rising.
Mahatma Gandhi, Rachel Carson, Oscar Schindler. These are icons of social change who created the ripple of compassion that turned into waves of transformation. Because social change doesn't start with protest, massive movements, or policy shifts. It's linked to everyday kindness. Every major positive shift that has happened in the world has been tied to individuals choosing to act better, to perform better, to become a powerful catalyst in a real change of collective spirit. When we engage in social change, even in seemingly small ways, we cultivate new perspectives, develop a deeper sense of purpose, and experience significant personal growth. It's a virtuous cycle. Kindness inspires change. Change creates more opportunities for kindness. That's the way the circle works. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Kindness Rising, your morning dose of hope, humanity, heart. And today, we're excited to talk about large-scale social change. So get ready. Here we go. As we always do here on Kindness Rising, we're going to start with our Kindness Spotlight. This is where we highlight organizations, celebrities, and people you might not even know who are driving large-scale social change. They embody and act in ways that help us be motivated and inspired to create change. So welcome to Kindness Spotlight. Whoops. Little mistake there on the horizontal, but on the vertical, you saw our new little videos. We're going to try to integrate some of that stuff throughout the day. Welcome to Kindness Spotlight. All right, let's get to it. First, we're going to talk about an organization that was founded by a major founder within the tech space, a man named Jeffrey Skoll. If you don't know Jeff's name, he was the co-founder of eBay. They're championing social entrepreneurs and other social innovators around the globe. And their mission is clear: to build a more sustainable world of peace and prosperity for all, to catalyze transformational social change via social entrepreneurs. They really lean into supporting individuals who are creating change, who are addressing the major issues of the day and making it happen every day. And they're putting their money where their mouth is. Recently, they awarded $5 million to the University of Arizona. University of Arizona is studying the impact of pandemics. Obviously, we've all been impacted by what happened over the past few years. We're coming out of it, but we need to be prepared for the next one. And Jeffrey Skoll and the Skoll Foundation are supporting that. They also have recently donated $25 million to understand and counteract the recent spending cuts that have happened in the United States. But the way they do it, that's what's key. They're focused on stories of change, the compelling stories that make a difference. They understand that to truly inspire large-scale change, you need to tell powerful stories that are human-centered. This initiative, it connects those independent stories, the social entrepreneurs that are out there doing good in the world, elevating their voices and showcasing the incredible impact that they're having. The ripple effect of these narratives is vast, inspiring countless to join the movie. It all starts with those small acts and becomes a ripple from there. They also regularly publish in-depth case studies. Their most recent one in February of 2025 was called From Unpaid to Unstoppable: The Rise of Professional Community Health Worker Movement. We talked about mental health change yesterday and the inequities that exist that exist in the world, and they're putting their money where their mouth is. They're investing in community health workers, in people who are out there in underserved populations, helping the world to grow. The Skoll Foundation is an amazing organization that's helping to lead social entrepreneurs to drive real change in the organization, in the world. Check them out. Go to their website, donate to the foundation if you can. You can help with your small acts to create real social change in the world. Next, we're going to move on to our celebrity influence. This is something I've been doing recently. I think it's really cool to highlight people who we know in the world who might be, they are making a huge difference. This comes from the world of music, a woman who's somewhat been misunderstood, but is out there making change happen in the world, using her influence, the influence of her music, the influence of her celebrity to spotlight areas of need in our world and just making it happen. The person we're talking to about right now isn't hanging out under her umbrella. It's Rihanna. She's out there in the world. She has started the Clara Lionel Foundation. Her foundation, which was named after her own grandparents in 2012, began with a focus on healthcare and education in her home in Barbados. But since then, that Clara Lionel Foundation has expanded well beyond the borders of those islands in the Barbados, and her vision for this has become much bigger and much bolder. They now fund and support grassroots organizations that are tackling important issues in the world. They're talking about climate justice. They're talking about health equity, just like we did here yesterday. They're talking about gender equality and artistic empowerment. These are things in our world that are under attack right now, that need our help. And Rihanna and the Clara Lionel Foundation are investing in this and making it happen, not just in the Caribbean, but in the United States and even in East Africa. But what makes this story unique? A lot of celebrities are out there doing great work in the world, but what's different about Rihanna's Clara Lionel Foundation? Anyone who knows about philanthropy and giving in the world knows that a lot of gifts are what they call restricted gifts. The gifts are given, but they can only go towards this or towards that. Rihanna and the Clara Lionel Foundation is leaning into something called trust-based philanthropy. They give the gifts to the organizations based on their mission and based on their need, but they don't tell them how to spend the money. These are unrestricted funds that give local leaders the flexibility and the empowerment to meet the real on-the-ground needs of their communities, and cutting out a lot of the crap, a lot of the red tape that actually sucks up those actual dollars, so that more of the money can go directly to helping people. Recently, the Clara Lionel Foundation partnered with the Mellon Foundation to fund the artistic-led climate resilience projects down in the Barbados. They've been hit with major climate change impacts, and it's a beautiful example of how cultural work, the work of artists, can help with outside of their art. It's climate activism, and they go hand in hand, artistics and activism. Rihanna's foundation is showing the world what's possible when compassion is combined with strategy and when celebrity influence is used not to dominate, not to take over the world, but to empower the world. The Clara Lionel Foundation reminds us that kindness at scale means investing in people, trusting the communities, and lifting voices that have long gone unheard. You can learn more at the ClaraLionelFoundation.org. Stay with us. More kindness is on the way. Check out skoll.org. It's SKOLL.org. And the ClaraLionelFoundation.org for the good work that is happening by these people who are putting their money where their mouth is to create social change. This has been the Kindness Spotlight. That snapping fingers can only mean one thing. It's time for our Kindness Compass. Kindness Compass is the time in our show when we provide practical and inspiring advice for engaging in the theme of the show. Today's theme is large-scale social change. We want to help people to understand it, to have the scope to make the changes themselves. It doesn't start through protests and massive movements. It starts on the local level with those individual changes that you can make. So let's get into it. Welcome to the Kindness Compass. We want to reframe our ideas around social change. A lot of people we always think about, and I keep saying it, those protests. There was recent ones throughout the United States and throughout the world, large movements of change. But it's not just these grand gestures that make a difference. It's the collective everyday actions of you, of me, of those of us in the world that are trying to make a difference. And there's things that we can do to make that difference. It all starts in our world with civic engagement. Stay informed. There's lots of information out there on the web. We're bringing it here on our show and at Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends at 8 o'clock Eastern on weekdays. Stay informed, particularly at the local level. The national news tends to dominate, but at the local level, that's where you can make the most change, right? Think globally, act locally. That's a classic cliche, but it's not a cliche. It's where the power lies. Stay informed, vote. Sometimes we feel like our vote doesn't matter. I know there are a lot of people I've talked to in the world that feel that way, but your vote does matter. And if anything else, even if you don't think your vote matters, this is what we always say in our house. If you don't vote, you can't bitch. You have to express your point of view publicly before you can complain about things and try to make that change. Attend local meetings. We recently had a thing going on in our community. Actually, it wasn't that recently. It was a couple of years ago now, but a business that was coming into our community that most of our community did not believe in what they were doing. And we attended meetings. We went there. We voiced our concerns as a family here, right here in the Roof household and throughout our community. We went out there, we talked about it, and we created change. The business still landed, honestly. The business still landed here. What they were doing, how they promoted their business, and what they were doing was drastically changed because of our actions in attending those meetings. Going to those things brings us a sense of belonging and well-being that can only add power and kindness to the world. It's that ripple effects of kindness, the small acts that have a big impact. And you can even get smaller than that to have a big impact. The smile, the listening, the helping hand when you see somebody struggling, Those build social capital in our world. They strengthen the bonds in our community, and it boosts the psychological well-being of both the giver and the receiver, so that when the big things happen, we're ready to act, we're ready to move. Support those systemic change organizations. Identify the values that are aligned with your values. There's nonprofit organizations, there's social impact organizations and charities out there that are working on the very stuff that you care about. Find them, support them, go to their events, donate to their initiatives, volunteer, amplify their messages. That's free. Find out about them, research them, and talk about them. That's where it starts. Support those social organizations, those social impact organizations with your actions, and we together will make a change. Because collective action starts with an individual commitment. When we act individually, it creates that snowball, that ripple that happens. You bring people along, you start making that positive change, and that is where the magic of social impact happens. Thank you for listening to the Kindness Compass. I hope it helps people to get out there and act a little bit differently and think about how they can impact the world. Thank you very much. And here comes our kindness call. Kindness call is where we have our goal to interact with the audience. We're going to get into those comments. We're going to introduce a new kindness challenge. I talked a little bit about some of the acts, but I'm going to give you a direct act that you can do today. So without further ado, let's get right into those comments. Looks like there's been some action here. I've been trying to monitor them a little bit sooner, but today I forgot because I was so focused on some of those new videos. Bringing the sunglasses today, inspired by Keith and team. It's Friday. We try to do things a little bit differently on Friday, Casual Friday. I actually like them. They help me to not be so focused on where I'm looking in the camera. I'm just talking about it openly. That's what's happening here. I'd be interested in your feedback as always. But let's talk about what's out there. Who's out there in the world? All right. Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends. Thank you, Keith, Melissa, Jimmy. Always start with you guys. Thank you so much for all the support that you've given me. We're ending week 5 here. This is episode 25. It's hard to believe we're getting up and getting it after it 25 days in a row. We're not going anywhere. We're showing up every day, and thank you for showing up every day. Be driven. Good morning. Love to see these familiar faces. Lady Drew, always solid. I love that you've been calling in to Keith and friends. When you guys stick around at 8 o'clock, Keith will be promoting that number. Call in, interact in the comments. We're building a community here. Lady Drew, you never have to apologize for missing a show. I know you're going to be here when you can, so thank you. Mike Sullivan, another solid guy that's out there pretty much every day. I see your name. Social entrepreneur is a great term. I agree 100%. The purpose of business is to give back to our community. There's a profit motive, but the purpose of business is to give back to our communities. And when organizations identify as social entrepreneurs, they make it their mission to change the world. Thank you so much. Dusty Struggles. There's a name I haven't seen here before. I know you show up over at Mornings in the Lab. I recognize that name. You sent me some googly eyes. I don't know if that's because I'm wearing my glasses or not, but again, absolutely. Thank you so much for showing up. Holroyd, you're here again too. Appreciate everyone that's coming out, that's hanging out with us here on Kindness Rising, rolling right into Mornings in the Lab at 8 o'clock in the morning. We as a community can help to make this social change happen. Thank you so much for showing up. So here's your kindness call real quick. It's super easy. I know this group that's out there, these names that I see in the comments, they all believe in this stuff. But here's where it starts. Start locally. Find one organization. Think about your values. What are you aligned with? It doesn't matter what it is. It's happening in your community, it's happening in the world. Dig in, find out more about what they're working on. Spend time intentionally and consciously thinking about it, and then amplify their voice. Get out there on social media. Put it in the comments right here on Kindness Rising and at Mornings in the Lab. We are all about trying to help you amplify that good stuff too. I know Keith will do it. I'll do it. If you've got a link to a website you want us to show, you want us to talk about something, interact in the community, get engaged, and you will make a difference. And we are here to help. That's it. Down and dirty, super simple. Research a local organization and amplify their voice. That's today's Kindness Call. Thank you. Thank you for joining us on Kindness Rising. I'm going to shift gears just for one quick second here. I want to talk about something that that Keith and I talk about all the time. Actually, Mastermind, welcome. Yo, my man, looking spicy. Yes, I'm feeling spicy today. It's Friday, getting after it. I went to a great show last night right here in our community. Amazing local free show, Grateful Dead cover band. You know I love my dad. Homebrew right here in Binghamton. They were awesome. They put on a free show to raise awareness in the community about all the great stuff that's going on, led by a guy named Jim Rian, who actually works for the Greater Binghamton Chamber of Commerce, who spent time in between songs talking about great stuff, thanking the people in the public works and in the police department and other places that are helping to make our community safe, healthy, and fun. And it was just an amazing night of community. I don't know why I told you that, except it was awesome because it was spicy there, Mastermind. And welcome batshit crazy. What's up with you, buddy? I hope all is well. Thanks for coming out. But here's what I really wanted to talk about. The moment before the moment. I talked about some people before, mentioned their names. Gandhi and Rosa Parks. And I don't even remember some of the other names I mentioned. Oscar Schindler is another great one. Rachel Carson, who did great work in the 60s on pesticides and making a change in the world related to the health of the food that we consume. All those people, those famous people who we know their stories, we hear about them. Many of them, there was something that happened before that. Before they became famous, before their story became the headlines. Here's a couple of examples. Rosa Parks. We know Rosa Parks is a leader of the civil rights movement. She's become an icon related to the fact that she didn't sit down. She didn't move on the bus because at the time buses were segregated. I know many of you know that, right? Black people and white people were not allowed to sit in the same areas in the bus. But guess what? 9 months before Rosa Parks refused to sit, another young lady, her name was Claudette Coleman, a 15-year-old girl who was arrested because of her refusal to sit. And her acts, Rosa Parks is the one we know, but Claudette Coleman came first. She was the leading story behind the civil rights case, the civil Supreme Court case, Browder versus Gale, that led to the elimination of bus segregation. Oscar Schindler became famous in the 90s because of Steven Spielberg's movies, Schindler's List, Liam Neeson, amazing movie, moving story of the Jewish Holocaust in Germany. But guess what? Before Oscar Schindler, there was a woman named Sophia Scholl. I don't know if you know who she was, but she was a 21-year-old student who rose up against the Nazis in Nazi Germany. Back then, Just simply dissenting against the government was punishable by death, and propaganda was everywhere. But Sophia Scholl and her brother, they chose to start something called the White Rose Movement. They were pushing against the Nazi propaganda, distributing anti-Nazi leaflets calling for resistance. Unfortunately, she was arrested, tried, and executed within days, but their words spread after the war and became symbols of moral courage in the face of fascism. There are moments before the moment. And right here on Kindness Rising and in Mornings in the Lab, we're experiencing that too. Maybe not on as grand a scale as Nazi Germany or racial segregation on buses, but it's still happening in the world. Mornings in the Lab and Kindness Rising are leading in a moment before the moment. There's a wave of change that's coming right now. It's happening online in media. It's happening, and we're leading it. Yesterday, there were huge announcements in the world of AI and tech. And Keith and I got online. We did a live last minute live. Some of you that are here in the comments were right there. It was amazing, unbelievable interaction that was going on. And we here at the Mornings in the Lab Network are leading that. Those announcements signal a huge shift in the world right now. Every bit of information through the use of AI and the recent launch of in ChatGPT version puts all the information in the world right at our fingertips, even more so than Google search has ever done. Everything that we could possibly want to know information-wise is at our fingertips. But guess what? We still have a chance to take that information and add value. The only way to add value now because of that information is with our voice and leveraging the power of that AI speed and efficiency. And that's what we're doing here on Mornings in the Lab and Kindness Rising. Check out our stuff on YouTube, some of the AI videos and things that we're using. Every day, these shows are powered by the use of AI. And we want to bring that to you. We're bringing that to you through our quick and dirty ad campaigns. We want to show you the power of AI. If you have a brand or you know someone who has a brand that wants to be heard, stand out from the noise, reach out to myself, reach out to Keith. We can help you with some quick and dirty ads that show the power of AI. We're also leaning into education. Keith is out there. We're starting a program. Join our membership, join our channels. The paid members on Keith's channel are going to get behind the scenes access and real tools that are going to make a difference in your life and your ability to leverage this amazing technology, the miracles of technology that are happening today. So don't forget the quick and dirty ad campaigns, the education. Subscribe to Kindness Rising. Subscribe to Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. Join us every day starting 7:30 a.m. right here on Kindness Rising, rolling into Mornings in the Lab at 8 a.m. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We're running out of time here. We're going to wrap it right up. Another amazing week here on Kindness Rising. We talked about some great things together. People are joining in the community. Subscriptions are up. Keep joining, keep subscribing, keep telling friends about it. You can make a difference with your small acts. It's the accumulation of those small acts that lead to kindness, empathy, and civic engagement that creates real social change. Check out those organizations that are happening locally and get involved. You are a catalyst. Be the change that you want to see in the world, and together we will rise with kindness. Thank you again for joining me here on Kindness Rising. Get over and see Keith at Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends at 8 a.m. And don't forget to come back Monday morning, 7:30 a.m., Kindness Rising. Have a great weekend, everyone. And as always, stay uncommon and stay kind.